there are a few different things we could do today. Could start working on the neck. I still got a lot of question marks with hardware, but I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident this is how this neck is gonna be, however the hardware works out. So we can go ahead and cut profile, cut taper, start shaping the head a little bit, doing all that kind of stuff. We could. And I'm tempted to do that. So that once we've got the neck to actual dimension, we can figure out the pocket. And I'm fairly terrified of the damn pocket, so the quicker we can get to that, the better. I had kind of planned, since we put ears on, I had gotten me some walnut scraps and got them to the same dimension as the ears, so we can, have something to brace this on while we're cutting. At least while we're cutting this way. The core is tapered. It's mild, but it is tapered. So there are some things, if we really had to have square cuts in this direction, we wouldn't be able to do that. We'd have to do something weird. I don't know. I hadn't thought about it because we don't need it. But because it is tapered and it doesn't sit exactly square to the table, parallel to the table, exactly, cuts in this way will be skewed slightly, but ever so slightly, and this is the heel and the volute, and it doesn't matter, but, just to be a little pedantic. Anyway, as terrified as I am, I suppose it's about time we cut that neck up, so I think that's what we're doing today. For some reason, I can't exactly explain how I came to this, but I think it will be easier to cut the profile and then the taper. So that's the plan. This little piece of walnut I just stuck to the table, so it's just a little taller than the ear. I need my other piece over here somewhere. Yeah, that'll work. Another thing I don't think we actually talked about, where I arbitrarily decided to put my cutaway for the heel should be inches away from where we need it. I don't know exactly where it's going to be, but, as long as we leave enough, we can always reshape later, which is usually what happens anyway. Anyway, that was a decision that had to be made, and it has been. So, yeah, anyway. Done with the blocks. I'm also not cutting any thickness off the heel right now. It's gonna have to come down quite a bit. I don't know how much yet though, so I'm not dicking with it right now. love it. I do. I love it. It's a little janky. It's a little ghetto-tastic. But it's going to work. It'll be alright. Be just fine. Don't worry. I got it. I should have thought to do this before we cut at least the angle off of the head. The plan has been the truss rod will sink, of course, to 1/2 inch as usual. But I had planned on doing it so that the nut is, I want my my truss rod cavity to just basically house, you know, from nut to nut, square nut to square nut. The actual nut I want to just be buried, so I want it to sink in, slide in, and then fit. So I had planned on access just drilling a hole, and I've marked the depth that we need that hole to be at. It's just now it's going to be a little harder to drill it nice and straight, or at least get it started nice and straight. Yeah. So, but I suppose it would probably make a lot of sense to do the truss channel first. I mean, we could do it this way. We could go ahead and drill and just, you know, drill a little past our nut line, but it might be better to already have the truss cavity there, so we can tell when we drill into it. Maybe. That's going to be such a pretty neck. It's going to be cool. Yep. Off camera I spared you just doing a little work just to get the back of that profile, you know, relatively uniform and close to the thickness that we want it to be at. It may need to come down just a tiny bit, but not a big deal. And you know, once it's faceted, there's a whole lot less material to bring down to depth. So anyway, now that we're close to depth, we can actually fit the jig so we can do our truss. And I double checked, everything's nice and secure and pretty well dead center. So I'm going to do a shallow pass real quick, make sure we're happy with that, and off we go. Anyway, you know what this looks like. A few more passes. We are down to depth. I didn't think... Normally, with the spoke nut, I'll dig out the channel for the full length, and then we just open up one end for the spoke nut. I didn't think about the fact that this time I just want the channel from nut to nut, and this guy is going to get buried underneath. So we made the channel longer than we need. You know, once we get it in place, I can put a little plug in the end just so, you know, it's nice and snug and doesn't rattle or anything. So it's not a big deal, but I didn't think of it. But the channel is there and it's down to depth. Now, if we can manage to drill our access hole. And I'm a little scared we're going to screw that up because that's not going to be super easy to do now that we're at an angle. But got to be done, and you know, it'll work out somehow. Alright, I forgot what size bit I got, but I did me a little test hole, and this guy fits pretty good. Just a tiny bit of wiggle room, so it's got room to move, which is kind of important. Now, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I guess like that. Just how level are we? But I can't just look at the level of the drill because that's not 100% level. I don't think. It's pretty damn close. Alright. That's cool. Alright, I can watch the level on the drill. Okay. So, as planned, the nut will go into that little access port. Truss goes into place. Then this little plug I just made will fill in the rest when it's time to hammer that turd in there, because once we do, I don't think it's coming out. Yeah, so, good job us. Yay. Thanks for joining me. If you like what we're doing, if you're digging it, like and subscribe. Catch you next time.